Hi, George.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, of course.
Um, I caught your episode for Savannah. I watched a few other ones too, but I really loved what you did in Savannah. Um, so, can you tell us more about George Goes Everywhere?
Yes, well, George Goes Everywhere is the show. We explore a city and see as much as we can, all without spending more than $100. And it's available on millionstories.com.
Perfect. So, what was your inspiration for this project?
I think it came from my personal life. I kind of have always loved to travel, but haven't always had the bankroll to support my ambitions. And so I think over the years, I kind of had to get creative when I did stuff when I was looking for fun things to do in a place. Um, and I've worked in TV for many years. And so at a certain point, it just kind of made sense to combine those two aspects of my life and create a show like this.
Awesome. So, you mentioned doing it all under $100. So, how'd you come up with the figure of $100?
Well, I mean, it's just a kind of a nice round number, but it felt reasonable. It felt like it wasn't too limiting, but not necessarily too uh, too high. It was a perhaps a reasonable amount that someone could have as disposable income, not completely, not $1,000 where people say I don't want to spend $1,000,
Yeah.
but $100. Well, I could spend $100 on just some having some fun in the city.
So, I know a lot of it's doing research. So, what goes into your researching of a budgeted vacation?
Well, yeah, I'm a big proponent of putting in the time beforehand, and I mean, of course, you want to wing it a little bit when you're traveling and leave room for those kind of happy accidents and to discover things. But I think putting in time beforehand is a really important thing, and looking digging deep, looking past just the first page of Google results or the first page of TripAdvisor results or something like that, and just kind of digging deep. I think there's a site called Atlas Obscura that I'm a big fan of. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I'll check it out though.
Kind of catalogs more offbeat things in a city, and just maybe reading up on a city's history and seeing something curious. So like, oh, that's a part of their history. Then Googling that and seeing if there's something related to that in the city, and finding things that way.
So, sort of, I guess maybe it ties because you sort of answered it, but I want to ask anyways, just in case. So, what tip or tips would you give to someone looking to vacation on a budget?
I think it be creative and open yourself up to uh, different experiences. A lot of people, I think they travel and they kind of just maybe sometimes end up doing the same things they do in their hometown. And I say try to open yourself to some maybe different experiences, and because when you do, you can find things that are not only budget friendly but really different and a lot of fun.
So, along those lines as well, then, I know that you sort of mapped out what you'd be doing in all these different locations. Did you find yourself sort of spur of the moment changing something or adding something on any of those?
Yeah, yeah. We did. I planned it out pretty well, and of course, we're shooting a show, and so just kind of logistically, you have to uh, plan things out because of that. But yeah, we definitely had some spur of the moment things for sure. I mean, once you're there on the ground, I mean, talk to locals, and talk to Uber drivers, stuff like that, and see if they have any uh, tips. I don't know if you saw the Houston episode, but in uh, in that episode, the restaurant we went to, a place called Irma's, was a tip given to us by an Uber driver, and just we hadn't heard of it, and he just we were like, hey, do you know of any place cool? He's like, oh yeah, there's this spot there, and we just went and showed up, and it was great. And so like I said, leave room for those discoveries, those happy accidents.
Awesome. So, out of all the locations that you visited, which do you think you got the most for your money, most bang for your buck out of your day?
I think it's probably Milwaukee, which it's one of the smaller cities on the that I visited this season. But I was really surprised by how much fun stuff there was to do there, and how nice the people were, and it was a real pleasant surprise.
So I know this may be hard to answer, and it's like choosing your favorite kid. But out of all the locations that you visited, which one was your favorite and why?
Well, I grew up right outside New York City, in New Jersey, and so I am biased towards New York a little bit because it's kind of my hometown. But I'd say probably Chicago. I'd been there before, but it's really just one of my favorite cities in the whole world. Every time I go, I can't wait to come back every time I leave. It's just something about it I really enjoy.
Awesome. So what are you hoping that your viewers take away from watching the series?
I hope they can take away that you can, of course, have fun on a budget, and to think more, you know, think more about your bottom line when you're traveling. But and I hope they can take that to open yourself up to different experiences. To do things that you might not ordinarily do. I mean, in the New York episode, I took breakdancing lessons, which I have no reason to take breakdancing lessons. I'm never going to need to know how to breakdance in my life.
Well, you never know.
Uh,
You may have a dance off one day.
you never know. I mean, I shouldn't say never. Yeah. Um, but it's something that was so much fun, and it's just it's something its history is rooted in New York. It's a kind of a New Yorky thing. It's because it started in the Bronx, and it's just a different experience and something that I'll never forget. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't open myself up to sort of different experiences and sort of offbeat activities.
So do you think there's something that you might explore if you decide to do more episodes, like something like with that, or sort of stay the same and just focus on more cities?
Well, I
Thought?
think I mean, I think it's if you're gonna do it. If I was gonna do more episodes, I mean, you kind of almost have to address it. It's a little bit the elephant in the room, um, and I think it's also interesting to address to uh, maybe focus on places and go to places and see kind of how they handled the situation, how it affected them, and maybe in terms of a show like this, giving them free publicity to help them get back on their feet. That could be something that works well for everyone. Um, but yeah, I think you kind of I'd be interested in addressing that somewhat. But yeah, like I said, it's hard to really plan ahead. You just
Absolutely.
don't know what's going to happen in the coming months.
No, it would definitely be interesting to see sort of how you navigate through that, and then see someone else do it, test it out, and then us follow. So that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I'll be the guinea pig. I'm happy to be the guinea pig.
I get the feeling that you would enjoy that. So I'll sort of wrap it up with this because I'd love to know, so what other cities are on your budgeted vacation bucket list?
Uh, right now, I mean, we didn't hit a lot of really any West Coast cities in this. So I mean, off the top of my head, like Portland, Seattle, Denver, Phoenix, those kind of pop into my head. I didn't go to Florida either. I know you're in South Florida.
I know.
So I mean, I was looking at Miami or Tampa, St. Pete. Um, I have, yeah, one of my good friends is from St. Petersburg, and he keeps telling me, he's like, dude, you got to go to St. Pete, you got to go to St. Pete, and so yeah, I've got to hit Florida, DC. That's another one. There's plenty of spots, I think.
Awesome. I know I was going to say I was going to wrap it up with that one, but I have one more question. So when sort of thinking about something, how much time do you think it takes to prepare? I guess not you think, it takes to prepare for your trip and finding, sort of mapping everything out.
I mean, I enjoy the research aspect of it. I enjoy looking into it, and so I'll do it over the course of a few days, probably. Um, put in hour or two here and there. But yeah, time is spent. I don't. It's not a 15-minute thing. Um, so it's definitely over the course of hours, over the course of days. But like I said, I kind of enjoy it. It's like a treasure hunt. So I don't mind doing that.
Awesome. I thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. It was fun watching you explore different cities and trying new different things. Very inspirational. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.